everybody. Carrie Schaefer here, also known as Carrie Ann King. As usual, we are having last minute fun and games, technological challenges. So we are a couple minutes late, but that's okay. I am really excited to have an agent here today, Michelle Grajkowski. She's going to tell me in a minute how I'm mispronouncing her name because I know I've got it all kinds of wrong. But before I bring Michelle on, I have some news I wanted to share with you all real quick. So, and it's appropriate because we're talking about an agent today and some of the work that agents do. And my lovely, wonderful superstar agent, Deirdre Knight, has just got me a new contract as Carrie Ann King. So I'm super excited, and I have a funny story. So I actually, I want to show you. So I wanted to announce that I have this new contract, and I was all excited. So I made this fake cover for my brand new book, Other People's Things, which will be coming out in September of 2021. And I put this up, and I got all these comments back from people that they loved my cover. So I was actually cracking up laughing because, you know, I was just kind of trying to make it clear that this is not a real cover. This is just announcing, you know, the name of the book, but a lot of my readers actually love this cover. So I would love to hear from you also what you think and whether you like it or not. And if you don't, that's cool because, you know, it was like a 5-minute thing, which is, if you know about covers, if you are a published author and you're dealing with this, you know that it can go rounds trying to get it right. So anyway, I'm excited. I have a new book coming out. My agent is awesome. And without any more ado, I am very happily going to bring on Michelle. So I'm going to get rid of that. And there we go.
Hey.
Hi, Michelle. Hey. Michelle, very first thing first, can you pronounce your last name for me? I have misspelled it. I have mispronounced it. I've like...
Sure, it's Grajkowski. So there's like a J in there.
Yeah.
It's like the Polish joke I like to say because there's no reason for it. Like there's absolutely no reason. So it's Grajkowski without the J.
Grajkowski. Okay, so funny story. I know Michelle because I met her on a cruising writers cruise and we hit it off. There's a story there too, but anyway, so I wanted to invite her. So I popped on Facebook and messaged her, but it wasn't her. It was some other poor random person with a similar last name, slightly different spelling, like telling her all about stuff. And I'm sure that the poor thing was totally bewildered if she's even seen this message. And then when I finally found Michelle and we messaged, I started texting her. I thought I was texting my son about anyway, it was weird communication day.
That's my favorite kind, you know?
Yeah.
Whenever I'm around, there's always a story somehow. So.
Well, and that's one of the things I love about you and why I'm really happy to have Michelle here as my first agent guest on the show. Because here's this thing. There's this thing about agents. For those of us who are not yet agented, and sometimes even after, we think of agents as sort of these mythical, mystical beings, like they're like unicorns, right?
Those are devils. Man, that's a unicorn.
Like, where will I find my unicorn agent, right? And I think this is what leads us to do really stupid things, like hit agents up in the bathroom and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So one of my goals for today is to help you understand that Michelle, as an agent, is a real human being with a family and a life. And then we're going to talk about some agenting things. This isn't really, we're not going to answer specific agenting questions today per se, but if you have any kind of more general things that you want to convey to Michelle, I might ask her, but I think we'll be talking a lot. So So thanks again, Michelle, for putting up with my crazy. And I think I am going to tell this story. So when I met Michelle,
oh no, there it
goes. we're chair buddies now for life, right? For life, forever and ever. So we were both on a cruising writers cruise last fall. And I was invited. I was very excited because I was invited to come as the best-selling author, which was new for me. So I was kind of feeling a little hesitant. And there was an event where I was pretty sure that I was supposed to be up on the stage with other agents and, important people. But I wasn't quite sure. And so when I met Michelle, I said something about, I think I'm supposed to sit up here. And she said, oh no. So something very politely. I think maybe you're supposed to stay there. And, right. So.
Yeah, that was not my finest moment by any stretch of imagination. Well, Kara, you need to set the stage. You came in with your breakfast.
Go ahead, you set the stage. This is perfect.
You came and you sat down in the front row with your breakfast, and I hadn't met you yet. So here's note to self: always research who's going to be at a conference with you, so that you know, and look at pictures, because I had no idea. So I'm like, oh, it was first read, so I didn't know who was supposed to be on the piano with me, so I didn't want to invite you or not invite you.
Right, exactly. How would you know? But this is my point. It's like we both, and then we bonded over this. And
100%.
So, right, yes, which is why I come to have a picture of lovely agent Michelle on the piano. I'm not going to show it right now, but if you want to see the picture of Michelle posing on the piano, and just to make it fair, I will also include the picture of me posing on one of these luscious red, dangerous-looking benches, just to keep it fair. That will be up on my website after the fact. So rightattheedge.com, check out the podcast, and you'll see it in the graphics. So, Michelle, I'd like to start actually with everybody wants to know the slush pile question. This is top of everybody's mind, and I think we envision you guys as agents, that you run to your computer every day, anxious to see what might be buried in the slush pile, and that our gem will be there. So tell us, really honestly, how much time you personally spend looking at the slush pile.
Right away with the hard questions here.
Yeah, you can be honest.
I want to say congratulations on your contract.
Thank you.
Fabulous news. And I also want to say that I love Deidre. Deidre is like my mentor through this whole thing. So I'm so happy you're with Deidre and all that good stuff. So anyway, that's first. So a slush pile. See, I'm trying to buy time.
It's okay. Just answer it. We're here to be honest and to help people figure out, what's really going on. So maybe they won't be so angry next time that they don't get an answer.
You know what? And that is a really good point, because we actually had to change our submission policy. So way back in the day, I've been agenting for 20 years now, and so way back when I first started agenting, everything was paper submissions, right? So people would have to spend money to send me something. So I remember if somebody was sending me something, it was something that they really wanted me to see, right? And but and I wish that I still had all the paper around my office. I would take a little tour for you to see. We had mail up to the ceiling, it was ridiculous how much we got, but it cost a good $5 to send something to an agent back then.
Yeah,
we would request 3 chapters and a synopsis right off the bat. Well, fast forward to now, now it's so easy to submit to everyone and anyone, so in our slush we actually get a lot of things that we don't even represent, or things that we wouldn't even be interested in. So as my agency grew, I started adding other people to help me with the agency. I don't spend personally very much time at all in the slush box. Sometimes I'll go in just to poke around to see what's there. Corey, my other agent, actually spends more time there. And we have another agent that we might be bringing on who's actually poking around as well.
Yay, congrats.
So thank you. Yeah, so it's pretty exciting. But so at that, so really it's, as we get on the line, that's where more of the slush pile stuff is coming. For me personally, my new clients that I take on are people that either are referrals from clients that of mine already, or clients or people that know me, that are like, hey, Michelle would really love this. So I take referrals really seriously. Those get top priority. Also contests, I love to judge contests, and I found some really great entries through contests. And then finally, the biggest way for me personally is going to writers conferences and actually meeting face to face with the writers, because I have a really nice full list, and I don't really take on very many new authors. probably much like Deidre, you know, I mean,
Yeah,
we've been in
very
it for
much.
so long, you know, I mean, we built our family. And so, so I'm very selective with who else comes into my little family, into my
Right.
little world.
Well, and I love that you call it a family, because it really is. A lot of people have a misinformation about the agent client relationship, like it's just going to be one book or it's
Right.
completely business. Well, it is business. It's
Yeah.
business first, and so no agent is going to take on a client that they don't believe in their books and they don't think they can sell them, because that's why we all do what we do. But that said, I know a lot of agents, and Deidre is the same. She will want to get to know you a little bit before she signs you.
Exactly.
And when she asked me to sign with her, she actually asked me to marry her. So that was very touching. We were on the phone, and she said, "You know, I kind of see it as a marriage relationship. It's long term. We're in it for the haul. We're going to build together." And then so then she said, "That said, Carrie, will you marry me?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know, right? It's Valentine's, and it's so
Right.
and I love her still. So, you know, and I think this is really important, because I find that people do get into agent relationships and they're not good
Right.
sometimes, because we rush
Yeah.
and we choose agents that are not healthy for us.
Yeah.
And then the breakup can be like a bad divorce. It's,
Right.
you know, sometimes it's amicable and it works great and everybody, it's just business and we're all happy. And then sometimes it's just not good. So
Right.
no, but nobody wants that.
Right. Well, and that's it. You know, and I really want to make sure when I'm representing authors that they're really strong, you know, strong business people, strong minded, really fit into my core values, you know, because really for me, as you can tell, I kind of like to have fun too, you know. So I really want to be with
Right.
people who I get along with, you know, and really each one of my clients is individual, you know, and how I
Sure.
handle each client, it's very different. You know, some of my clients are super hands-on, like they'll call me with an idea, you know, and we'll just brainstorm, which I love to do, you know, and others are like, no, you know what, you're my business partner, just, you know, here's you, the contract's already in hand, my editor is my editor, you know, and we just kind of work on the business side of it. But no
Right.
matter what, I really know my clients. At least I try to get to know them, you know, because it's important to me to know what the goals are, you know, and where we're going and where they want to be, you know, and so that I can help get them to that place, because otherwise
Right.
it's without that communication, you're just shooting in the dark. So,
Sure. And that's no fun at
right,
all. No, nobody
right,
wants that. So all of that said, first off, guys, if you're listening, going to conferences, really a good idea. That
yes,
you meet people who can refer you to an agent, you meet agents, and when you do meet the agent, have some fun with them, buy them a drink, sit down and talk.
yeah,
Just be yourself. Don't just be there just to pitch your book, because
right,
that's not all that it's about.
yeah.
All of that said, Michelle, what is your favorite part of the agenting thing? Like, do you have a favorite part that you like to do? I think every agent has, you know, their own set of skills, and everybody has different things that are their favorite part of the job.
Sure. You know, I have a couple. My first is really being the connector. I love being a connector. I love like meeting people, talking to people. People fascinate me, you know,
Yeah.
and so I love to like talk to my editor friends to see what they're looking for, and then try to be the matchmaker, the fairy godmother between my authors and them, you know, and that's
Oh, I love that.
it's really fun, you know, to be in that kind of a situation. Actually, I had one of the editors I work with really closely called me this fall and said, you know what, I've been tasked with buying some books, you know, I need some authors, you know, and so to be able to have that kind of relationship and that trust, you know, on both sides is super important. So I was able to place a couple of authors with her, you know, and it was really
Ooh.
exciting. So it's fun to be at that stage of the career as well, you know, where it's like we have a lot of those relationships built in. But so really that relationship building is my favorite. Going to conferences is another one of my favorite
Yeah.
just because I'm able to build so many relationships there, you know, even with writers that aren't on my writers, you know, I love to be around them and to hear the creativity, you know, and to try to help them mold into their stories, you know, that's my second favorite part, you know, is the
Right.
story building. I love to story build. I love to dream, you know, I love the what if games and brainstorming and plotting, and I love editing and going through and what can we do to make it stronger, you know. And so yeah, between relationship building and then the creative process, they're both pretty
Right, right. And you do love those things. Now, you told me a really fun story about how you got into agenting in the first place, and I think this actually involves Deidre again. So we get to bring her up. I have to say, I love that you said you're like the fairy godmother.
Oh, thanks.
That's so cool. That's awesome. I have a magic wand around here somewhere, but I misplaced it today. So I do.
I need to find mine. I think,
I really do. I bring it out from time to time. So I would love to share the story about how, you were a brand new agent and how that was for you.
Sure. Yeah. No. It was really interesting. So I got into the business in a really strange roundabout way. And way back in 2000, it was a really interesting time to try to enter into agenting because, back then you really pretty much had to be in New York to be an accepted agent. But people like Deidre really started, and Natasha Kern, and a group of my agent friends, that were part of a secret agent cartel now, are all over the country, which has been really, they paved the way for people like me to jump in. Deidre's about 5 years, I think, further than I am along in this process. But I got into it actually because back when I was in high school, my aunt published 3 books. She wrote them for Harlequin. She dedicated one of the books to me, and I thought, you know what, I want to be a writer. So I went to the UW-Madison. My degree is actually in journalism. I thought I was going to be a writer until I started taking more of the business courses, and I fell in love with the advertising, marketing, PR, all the business side of writing, and that became kind of my gig. At the same time, I was working at the UW hospital in their purchasing department, and I started seeing these animals that would come in and out, these salespeople. And I was like, that looks like a cool job to be able to sell something you love. So my first job right out of school, I was selling computers to the education market in the state. And I loved sales. I loved the networking. It's so much of what I do now.
Right. I see that.
Problem solving, all of that. The computers sucked. I'm like, you know what? No, I don't really love computers. So my aunt, unfortunately, suffered a little bit of a health scare. So to try to get her back into writing, my mom, my grandma, my aunt, and I all formed a critique group. And I made it through the first chapter of writing Love and Laughter for Harlequin, if anyone can remember that line. And I got through the first chapter. I'm like, oh, you guys, I love editing, brainstorming, critiquing, everything that comes with this process. But the writing, nah, not for me. And I said, I'd rather sell your stuff than write my own. And so thank God for my aunt, because here I am in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm 24 years old, and I have no idea that there's this whole world of publishing out there. And so she told me about agents, and she said, that's definitely, it sounds like something up your wheelhouse. So I joined RWA, and RWA used to send their little market guides. And in their market guide, they listed all the publishers that were accepted or acceptable, approved publishers with RWA. And then within there, then they had all the editors. So I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to go to New York. And I went down the list, and I met with an editor from each one of the houses. And I said, well, I'm thinking about starting this agency. I live in Madison, Wisconsin. What do you think? And they're like, doesn't matter if you can find good talent. We don't care where you live. Now I probably think they were just trying to get me out the door. But I just said as a go, and you're like 25, you're like, all right, I'm in. And so I researched the market a little bit more and officially jumped in August of 2000. And it's just been a great experience. From that point, I think the story you were referring to was actually when I was at Romantic Times.
Yeah.
I was in business for 3 months, and so, and at that point, I was walking out of my sales and my career in sales, where it was really easy. We had contracts, and sales just started pouring in. So I thought, I'm an agent. No matter what I sell to the editors, they're going to buy it, because I'm an agent in there. No idea what the process actually was like, and how much rejection and how slow the process could be.
Right.
So I panicked, and I went to Romantic Times, and
which by the way, guys, it's no longer a thing, but it is the biggest conference I have been to. I think it's huge, and it's like total party central. It's party central. I love that con. It was so much fun. But anyway, go ahead.
It was super fun, and that was my first experience at a big major writers conference too. And I was like, this is what romance writers do. It was really fun. They had cover model contests and all kinds of cool things, and parties every night, costume parties, and everyone dressed to the nines. But so anyway, they put me on a professional panel. I was on an agent panel. I had literally been in business for 3 months. I had no idea what I was doing. I couldn't even really say my name at that point. And so they're asking all these questions, and I'm like, I don't know. And so thank thank God Deidre was sitting next to me, and so after the panel, I'm like, oh my God, Deidre, I'm freaking out. I've been in business for 3 months and I haven't seen a book. I don't know what to do. And she's like, oh my God. And after she rolled her eyes and laughed at me, she's like, listen, Michelle, she said, it took me 9 months to make my first sale. And she said, and now look where I'm at. And I'm like, okay, I have 9 months to make my first sale, and then I'll be on par with Deidre. And luckily, I sold 2 books in 8 months. And so I was like,
you beat her! Yay!
So I took that as a go, But really, I mean, building the business, it's been all about goal setting for me, So as much as I listened to my author's goals, I really had to set my own. So my next goal after that was to hit 10 books so I could join the AAR, which I did, and that was a huge milestone for my agency, and it just kept growing from there. So the rest is kind of
and that's fantastic. I find that so inspiring. And one of the things I love about you is you are just open to doing things. Like when we were on the cruise, if there was something going down, Michelle was there. Like people are, I want to go to this. Like, okay, great, absolutely. But that got you to where you are. So if you had sat back, it's like, I don't know, maybe I have to do this first and all that, then maybe all that would not have happened the way that it did. So I think that's all super cool and exciting. So and you can tell as little as you like about this, but you have a family.
I do. Yeah.
Okay. And if you want to tell us more, that's okay. If not, like, when my kids were little, I didn't talk about them at all online. So I totally get,
No, I wish my kids were still little. Oh my gosh, no, I have old kids now. So
old kids.
Yeah, I do actually. My husband and I are going to be celebrating our 25th anniversary.
Wow.
In July. So yeah, I can't believe it. I don't know how I lasted 25.
I don't know how you look like you've been living in a time capsule. Because
the other thing, besides starting my business young, I got married younger. So
okay, all right.
Yeah, I was 19 when I got engaged. To which actually, that's kind of a funny story because I went to my mom and I said, guess what, Mom, I'm engaged. And she's like, no, you're not. I'm like, I am, Mom. And she's like, no, you're not. I'm like, Mom, I really am. She's like, fine, you can be engaged, but you're going to graduate college first, which was super great advice. Because my mom actually got engaged when she was 19 and dropped out of college, because she didn't want me to follow in that same foot path. So I graduated in May and we got married in July, July 1st. So it was a very quickly, But
and congratulations on that. So, we're coming up on Valentine's Day and, 25 years. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's still happy.
Still happy. He was actually, I met him, he was in the military, he was an ROTC guy, and so he's 3 years older. And so we went through all the ROTC stuff together. And, are you still there, Carrie?
I'm still here.
Oh, good. Okay. It just blanked out for a quick sec. Okay.
Oh, did it? Okay. Things happen.
Yeah, so he's my military hero guy. And now we have 2 kids. My daughter is 21. She goes to the UW-Madison. She's majoring in elementary ed. She really wants to do urban education. So she wants to move somewhere like Philly, or somewhere like Chicago and work deep in inner city. And my son is actually a freshman at the University of Iowa, which we're still trying to figure out since I know my husband at the UW and my daughter's at the U, all of our families at the U. And so also now we have a Hawkeye. But he's going into nursing. So it's so we're empty nesters now. So we have a puppy.
Puppies are more trouble than babies.
They are definitely more trouble than babies.
We won't do puppies anymore. Last time we needed a dog, we're like, we'll get one that's already all grown up, past chewing and the peeing on the floor.
Yes, totally smart. Because I'm like, Jericho, you're like 8 months now. You should know better than this. But it's still like, I'm so happy. I'm so excited.
and his name is Jekyll.
Oh, Jericho.
Oh, I thought you said Jekyll. Sounds like Jekyll and Hyde. That's okay as long as he's not Hyde ever.
You know what? That probably fits him better. So.
That's great, Jericho. Okay. Well, cool. And congratulations on launching the kids and all of that. I would like to ask you if you could have a dream manuscript come into your life right now, what would that look like?
Something that takes me away, something that I can just read and just get lost in. Part of my problem, part of the industry, what's it called, like a downfall, of my job is that I'm always reading everything for notes, so I'm always, no matter what I'm reading. And that's why my poor authors are probably like, Michelle, you were so hard on us, but it's because I'm always reading with what no am I going to get, and because unfortunately this industry is just full of rejection, and so I'm trying to get as many yeses as I can.
Of course.
So what I'm really looking for in a manuscript is just something that I can just get lost in, that I can't find any reason that we're going to say no.
Right.
That doesn't mean that I won't take something that needs work. Because definitely, we do revisions before I send most of the things out, and sometimes multiple revisions just because they need to be perfect, or as perfect as they can be before I start showing everybody. Right. And then, of course, the editors have their own opinion, so we go through revisions again.
Right.
But I love women's fiction that can just take me away. I love young adult. I'm really excited. I actually have a really cool young adult that I just took out. It was one of those stories that I read that I'm like, I just can't put this down. It's really unusual, and so I'm fingers crossed on that.
Right.
I love a good thriller, that scares me, which, and actually one of my authors wrote horror one time that I was like, my eyes are closed, and I'm like, but I need to know what's happening, but I don't want to see. So anything that can make me feel, that's really, because so I go the whole gamut. I love historicals, I love contemporary. It's just really, I'm a reader first.
Right. And so really, I think that the biggest lesson here is before you send anything, polish, yes. Make sure it's gorgeous, get other people to read it for you, get feedback, make revisions, yes. Shine it up as much as you possibly can before you send it in.
Yes.
So you give your agent the benefit of being allowed to fall in love with it. Because the other piece of that is I had never thought about this until I was out on submission once, and I realized it's hard on agents to get rejection too.
It's super hard.
We just think it's just us, but agents don't like being rejected either. So the more beautiful, polished, shiny book we can give them to send out there, then the more chance we all have of being successful.
Exactly. Sometimes I feel like it's harder on me than it is on my authors, just because I want it so bad. I want it so bad, not for me, but for them.
For them,
so
right.
Then to have to feel like, oh my gosh, and then to figure out what can we do to make it better so that this doesn't happen again, right. And it just, I feel a lot of responsibility, just because I do. When I take on an author or a project, is because I really believe in it, right. And then to hear the no's, it's like, why? There's so many. This industry has been so wacko, for the last couple of years. It's just been really hard on the traditional side, and I think it's getting harder on the indie side, to really get traction. And, I just did a talk to middle schoolers earlier this week. Yeah, it was really fun. I did 3 different classes on publishing, careers in publishing. Because again, being in Wisconsin, there isn't really a career path. It's not one of the pathways that they really do in school. So it's kind of my personal mission, to go around and to educate students about careers in publishing. And we talk about all the entrepreneurialships and all the different, ways that you can get involved in publishing now. And, but we talked a lot about editing. To that point, and so the teacher actually asked me to come in to talk to the class about editing, because she was telling them how important it is to edit. And when I went through and actually broke it down and thought about how much work it is for writers, you're editing, like you're saying, editing and polishing and editing and revising and re-editing before you send it to me. And then I'm like, now do it again.
Right.
Maybe again, and maybe another time before we get it out there. And then the editor saying, now we're going to do it again, and then
right.
saying you do the copy edits and get through the whole process, you're just ready to be done, and
right.
And so we know that, and so I try to be kind, in my revisions too, because I know that my word isn't necessarily going to sell it, but I just do my best to try to help.
Right. Well, sure. And, from me, from the writer in this connection, just make friends with revising and editing. It doesn't mean your work is bad. It means that it can be better. And when we bring in an agent and then an editor, we make it better. It gets shinier and better every time. So reminding myself of that, because I have proofreads. Proofreads coming in, which is the part I hate proofreads, because it's kind of done. I don't mind the edit. It's the proofreads, and it's like,
you have to read this again.
I can't really change anything except for very small typo at this point.
Yes.
But anyway, that's awesome. Michelle, for being here today and sharing this kind of information with the people out there who are, maybe don't know any agents, or at least none who are as fun as you. They are not all created equal, you guys. So next week I have an author on the show again, and I'm going to get this name all wrong too. It's Seamus, I believe, Seamus Heffernan. It's Irish, as you can tell. Seamus is going to be on. We're going to talk about what he's writing and his life as a dad, which is something we talk about with our women. Get asked that question all the time, and men not quite so much. So I hope that you'll join me then. And Michelle, how can they find you? Michelle is at 3C's Literary, and don't be like me and look for the number 3 and then C, the letter. It's actually 3C's, THREE. C's, SEAS, like ocean, the 3C's Literary. So if you just do a search, you'll find that. You'll find submission instructions on there. Make sure you read it carefully. Don't send things that they aren't accepting, because what's the point in all that?
Yeah.
And then come to a conference and meet Michelle. Do you have any lined up for this year that where you're going to be?
Yeah, I'm going to be at the UW-Madison. They have a really cool Writers Institute. It's a multi-genre, so they do fiction, nonfiction. It's the whole gamut. It's a really cool, it's actually 3 days. I'll be there for 2 days. It's in March. I can't remember the exact dates. But so if you Google UW Writers Institute, it's a great top-notch. And they bring in agents and editors from all over the country and everything, too. So it's a really great networking opportunity.
Nice.
Yeah, and so that's my next upcoming one. So
okay, all right, well, very cool. Thank you again so much for being here. The rest of you, take care. Join me next week so that you can meet Seamus. And I am also letting you know I'm working on getting some cover designers on the show and some other publishing type people to tell you stories and let you know what it's like in their part of the world. So stay tuned. Have a great week. Read some good books.
Great.
Bye.